Today on Good Morning Maine, Down East OBGYN announced last week that they'll be closing. We'll learn about the impact on their patients and what other options are available.
Plus, the Public Defense Service Commission officially has no more funding to pay their attorneys. We'll have more on that coming up as well.
And Freshies on Hammond Street is finally back open after months of reconstruction and improvements. We'll check that out as well.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday morning. We'll have those stories and a lot more coming up. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you.
How was your trip?
It was great. I took a couple of days off, went down to visit my daughter in Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Beautiful weather, beautiful city. It was so nice to be there.
Seems like a great time.
Yeah, and while I was away, I noticed that you guys had some fantastic weather up here too.
We sure did. Yeah, Monday and Tuesday were quite nice.
Yeah, it's kind of sobering coming back. It
is.
But you can already feel the changes around here. A lot of the snow was gone from my yard. It felt so nice, and looks like we'll have some more mild temperatures as we head toward the weekend.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Stephen Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Thursday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. All righty, here we go. The last of the winter storm warning in the northern parts of the state will drop later on this morning. We also have a small craft advisory lasting until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Friday along the coast. Meanwhile, areas of dense fog developing this morning, and we'll need to watch that. That will make travel a little bit difficult as you do make that morning commute, so make sure to keep that in mind as you do venture out, as we do have precipitation tracking from the southwest and going toward the north and east. Any ice reports farther off towards the north, and so far haven't noticed anything too ridiculous. The maximum report, at least up to this point, has been 0.2 of an inch. We'll see if any more reports come in later on this morning. I'd imagine so later on. As we zoom things out, we can see more precipitation tracking from the west to the east. The precipitation will back off later on. The hourly forecast moving forward, we'll see the precipitation backing off, especially this afternoon. Temperatures in the 50s and then cooling off. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
All right, thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. First this morning, Down East OBGYN is closing this summer. The owner confirmed that Bangor's only private full-service OBGYN practice will be ceasing operations due to staffing challenges. While efforts are now underway to ensure uninterrupted patient care, the situation also highlights the ongoing challenges of assessing those types of services here in the state. Our Grace Blanchard has more.
It's another loss for Maine healthcare. Patients of Down East OBGYN in Bangor recently learned the practice would be closing this July, with the owner, Dr. Christopher Rumsey, citing a lack of physicians. He declined our request for an interview, but announced last week he will be joining Women's Healthcare of Maine at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center.
Down East OB/GYN physicians did all their deliveries here at Eastern Maine Medical Center already, so their patients are familiar with our space and our team here.
Hospital leadership believes their pre-existing relationship with the practice will ensure continuity of care for patients.
They will be able to see their physician, have their deliveries, have their surgical procedures all at one location.
The closure of Down East OBGYN is consistent with a growing trend happening across Maine and nationally.
Rural areas throughout the country are struggling to keep practices and inpatient labor and delivery units open, and we're no exception.
In 2025 alone, Maine lost 4 labor and delivery units, which includes the closure of Northern Light Inland Hospital in Waterville. According to Collins, hospitals and practices are struggling due to a perfect storm of staffing shortages, declining birth rates, and increasing costs.
So these challenges are really mounting, and this is why you're seeing some of the closures.
Collins notes that many of EMMC's 1,600 annual births originate from Down East OBGYN, so she does not anticipate this will put additional strain on the women's health team.
We're growing our program. We think it's an opportunity, but more importantly, an obligation of ours, a commitment of ours, a part of our mission to make sure that we're here for women across the state.
In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news this morning, the Washington County Grand Jury has indicted 2 people for sex trafficking and 1 person for manslaughter. Valerie Haskins and Ryan McCauley were arrested in Cutler between January 2nd and January 6th. Both were indicted on charges of aggravated sex trafficking and conspiracy to commit. Haskins was also indicted for sexual abuse of a minor and assault. Court records on these cases have been sealed. Meanwhile, a Bangor man has been indicted for manslaughter in connection with a Washington County crash that killed 1 person and injured 3 others. 22-year-old James Nile is accused of causing a crash in Wesley that killed 39-year-old John Branscombe. Nile is also facing indictments on charges of eluding an officer, causing death while license is suspended or revoked, and driving to endanger.
Maine State Police are investigating a crash on Interstate 95 in Waterville early Wednesday morning. A state police spokesperson says a little after 5:30, a vehicle driven by 41-year-old Raymond Fenderson of Brunswick was merging onto I-95 northbound and collided with a motorist who was traveling northbound at the time. Moss says Fenderson's vehicle crashed head-on into the guardrail on the median side, and he became trapped inside. Emergency crews eventually freed him. The passing lane was shut down for the duration of that time, and according to the spokesperson, Fenderson sustained serious but non-life-threatening injuries. They say the preliminary investigation indicates impairment is a likely factor in the crash. It remains under investigation this morning.
Multiple people were arrested Tuesday in Somerset County following a months-long investigation into alleged drug activity at a residence there. The Somerset County Sheriff's Office says around 5:40 on Tuesday morning, their criminal division executed a drug search warrant at the residence of William Allen, located on the Ward Hill Road in Norridgewock. According to Sheriff's Office, during the search of that residence, approximately 170 grams of fentanyl and cocaine, over 200 controlled pills, a little over $6,000 in suspected illegal drug proceeds, digital scales, illegal drug-related documentation, and illegal drug-related paraphernalia were all seized. Arrested in the search was 34-year-old Ariel Hernandez Batiste of Lawrence, Massachusetts, and 28-year-old Louis Marte Met of Cambridge, Massachusetts. Both are being held without bail and are on federal retainers for allegedly being in the country illegally. They are charged with aggravated drug trafficking. 44-year-old Luke Sylvia of Skowhegan was arrested and also charged with aggravated drug trafficking. 40-year-old Randall Woods of Madison was arrested and charged with drug possession. 50-year-old Denise Weber of Norridgewock and 46-year-old Jeremy Ross of Anson were arrested on outstanding warrants.
Well, police were dispatched to a school board meeting in Newport on Tuesday night after officials say public comments got out of hand. Our Alex Sly has more.
The public comment portion of an RSU 19 school board meeting was abruptly ended Tuesday night after an incident that required police to get involved. During public comment, several attendees addressed an incident that allegedly happened earlier this year, involving a student's disciplinary action.
Another student later said they overheard her say, "It's sad that our school is under investigation because people can pick their own gender." Was later pulled into the office where he admitted that he had been talking about the investigation. After that, he was given 30 days in school suspension.
Several attendees expressed concern about how the incident was handled by school officials.
This is such classic viewpoint discrimination that it's ridiculous. Someone, we used to call them narcs when we were kids, tattletales, overheard something they heard about 2 people having a private conversation.
In response, an 8th grade student who said she witnessed the incident spoke about her experience.
This loudly and disrespectfully behind the student, and I was there, so I am a witness to this. He did do this purposefully, and he definitely intended to cause a reaction.
The response to the student's comments quickly escalated.
Is the school free?
Newport Police Chief David Wintle confirmed officers were dispatched to the meeting in response to the escalation.
I think an officer was going to drop by just to check it out. We do that occasionally, but we don't normally respond to school board meetings.
Wintle says police have since opened an investigation into what happened during the meeting.
We just received a complaint of an alleged assault happening at the school board meeting.
Newport Police declined to provide any additional comment about Thursday's incident or the ongoing investigation. In Newport, Alex Live for ABC 7, Fox 22.
Meanwhile, the University of Maine is making some tough choices as it tries to trim its budget, announcing this week that departments will have to reduce spending and some employees will be laid off to deal with $18 million budget shortfall. According to the Bangor Daily News, the university sent out a message to staff this week that fewer than 10 staff members will be cut in the next fiscal year. Departments are also being asked to trim their budgets by 7%. The budget is expected to be made public next week.
The Maine Commission on Public Defense Services provides state funding, legal counsel, and representation to Mainers that need it. However, that mission could be in jeopardy as their executive director announced that they're running out of funding. Callie Warren with that story.
There's nothing that we could do that would be more damaging than not pay the vast majority of our attorneys, which is what we are doing as of today.
The Public Defense Services Commission, or PDS, officially has no funding left to pay their attorneys. Attorneys that must be provided to Mainers that need them as outlined in the Constitution. They have around 400 total lawyers who took on nearly 30,000 new cases last year alone.
This really impacts everybody in Maine. It's not just the lawyers.
This comes after PDS dealt with a legal counsel shortage that triggered a lawsuit. PDS was sued by the ACLU of Maine for not providing attorneys in a timely manner. Tarpinian says staffing was so strained that nobody was available for those cases. And now some lawyers are stepping back from new caseloads.
We know some folks are stepping back. They've already told us they're stepping back. I'm worried that now more are going to step back.
Attorneys were notified that they will receive their final paychecks for this fiscal year on March 23rd and likely will not be paid again until July. PDS is urging the Maine legislature to pass LD 2059, an emergency funding measure to fix the situation and fund the state-appointed legal counsel that Mainers are entitled to.
You know, their student loans are not waiting and their mortgages are not waiting, and their kids still have to eat.
Tarpinian says the issue will cause a ripple effect, as many cases require public or state-appointed defense due to a client's inability to pay.
As soon as those cases are filed, they're being filed right now, so people are being arrested right now.
If more lawyers step back, clients can be left waiting, often behind bars.
Or if somebody takes your brother's kids away, that person needs a lawyer immediately. And the pain continues from there. People who sit in jail longer because they're waiting for lawyers, that costs taxpayers a lot of money.
Callie Warren reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The time now is 6:13. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, a new reusable food and beverage packaging program has launched at a cafe in Bar Harbor. We'll have more on that ahead.
But first, another check of that forecast. Today we can expect maybe some rain and snow. The high temperatures, though, around 51 degrees. Partly cloudy and breezy tonight with lows dropping down to around 21. Partly cloudy tomorrow, highs near 40. We'll be right back.
Since 1914, Lamy Wellahan has provided trusted expertise to help your footwear fit right every time, from work to weekend. Find the brands and styles you love in-store or online. Lamy Wellahan, locally owned, proudly Maine.
At the County Federal Credit Union, we value the trust our members place in us to act in their best interest. Whether it's providing low rates on consumer loans or raising money to end hunger, we work hard to serve our members and the communities in which they live. We are excited to bring the meaningful and impactful work we do to all Mainers as we continue to grow. Wherever you are in life's journey, count on the county to be your financial partner.
Yeah, at the funeral, you noticed the deceased pants were unzipped. What you gonna do?
I would write a note.
You want him to read it?
Weekdays at 9 on ABC 7.
Join us for the Lamy Wellahan Anniversary Sale. Take 20% off your total purchase March 13th through 15th. All your favorite brands and styles, expertly fit. Locally owned and proudly Maine since 1914. Shop in store or online. Exclusions apply.
I'm the lady in the black dress, and I have to make a decision now.
This is when the collision happened.
You're supposed to turn left if you're in the left-hand turn lane. There are consequences for actions. It is all your fault. Zero evidence. Yeah, wah, 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 wah. Get out.
On ABC 7.
Well, Welcome back, everyone. Maine's Secretary of State is making her run for governor official. Shenna Bellows turned in her signatures on Wednesday to qualify for the ballot. The Democrat says she's grateful for the support of everyone who signed her petition. Bellows grew up in Hancock and has been Secretary of State since 2021.
A vision that began 2 years ago has come to fruition as a ribbon-cutting ceremony was held yesterday for the Freshies Hammond Street location right here in Bangor. Construction on the new store lasted about 9 months, and according to the Director of Convenience and Retail, Darren Lord, new features in the store that the previous one didn't have include 24-hour fueling, a dedicated diesel island, and a new food options as well.
I will tell you, this store is state-of-the-art, the best convenience store I've ever seen. And to have that in the Bangor market, I'm super proud of that.
Lord goes on to say the Hammond Street location is their first iteration of taking amenities at its locations into the 21st century, something they're calling Freshies 2.0. Their next project will be its Union Street location, and Lord says construction on that one will begin shortly.
The University of Maine School of Law has announced its recipient of its largest single philanthropic gift ever. The $500,000 gift was made by the estate of Dr. Edward David, who was a Maine Law alum. David was born in New York City and attended summer camp in the Sebago Lake region as a kid. He studied medicine and in 1972 moved to Bangor to join a neurology practice. He later went on to work as a medical examiner in the state. He started at Maine Law when he was 44 and graduated in 1987. Today, Maine Law praised Dr. David's lifetime of service. It said the gift will allow the school to invest in scholarships, strengthen various programs, and advance initiatives that foster growth in the school. The school called the new funding transformational and said it was a milestone moment for their community.
A pilot program aimed at reducing plastic waste was launched at one of its participating establishments in Bar Harbor. Researchers and participants hope to see the program adopted all around the state. Alexa Kennedy has more.
A new reusable food and beverage packaging pilot project called Reuse Me launched at the Coffee Matters Cafe in Bar Harbor. Researchers with the University of Maine partnered with businesses across 3 coastal Maine communities to explore the potential for reusable packing. Customers at these locations have the option to have their food or beverage packaged in returnable stainless steel containers. The program aims to reduce plastic waste, prevent pollution, and save communities money on the purchase and disposal of single-use packaging.
Research project was basically focused on keeping plastic out of the ocean because so many of the takeout containers traditionally are made out of plastics. If they're not, they may be plastic coated. And a lot of that doesn't get recycled and ends up in landfill.
Mainers can engage with Reuse Me by signing up online at participating locations. You'll get a free stainless steel container, which can be returned to any participating business in exchange for a new one. The program also has the potential to save Bar Harbor taxpayers money. According to the Zero Waste MDI Committee, the town pays $2.5 million annually for waste transportation, 12% of which was from single-use plastic.
A lot of the people that come here are super excited about it. We need people to be advocates for it in order for people to get involved.
Chen says the UMaine research team will follow the success of these businesses. Both Chen and Marcial hope to see Reuse Me expand as a common practice among businesses across the state. In Bar Harbor, Alexa Kennedy, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Looks like a great program.
Yeah.
Well, the time now is 6:19. After the break, domestic security concerns continue amidst the war with Iran. We'll tell you more coming up in the newscast.
Plus, the DOJ and the Live Nation have settled an antitrust lawsuit. We'll find out what that means for Bangor's amphitheater as Good Morning Maine continues.
Davis Brothers Furniture is expanding. At Davis Brothers, we've always strived to stand out from the rest, and we are now proud to offer flooring for your home, featuring both carpeting and luxury vinyl flooring. We even have an installer in-house with over 30 years of experience. Come see the reason people have been traveling from all over the state and beyond to Davis Brothers Furniture in Guilford for decades. Davis Brothers Furniture, deliberately different, delivering statewide.
The Sylvia Ross Home in Bangor provides 5 professional levels of care and support for residents. We have access to a registered nurse on campus 24/7. Our weekly entertainment consists of a variety of live musical performances and bingo games twice a week. Our on-site beauty salon is available with a professional stylist, and we have 2 libraries that offer computers and Wi-Fi. Sylvia Ross Home is a warm, welcoming community. Please join us anytime for a tour and lunch.
A sharp pain in his chest. He knew it was his heart, but 2 hours from the big city hospital could tragically mean the end. But it wasn't. Thanks to Senator Susan Collins' tireless fight for Maine's rural hospitals. Because of Senator Collins' work, his local hospital had recently received up-to-date diagnostic equipment and upgraded facilities, all paid for with new federal funding. Lives are being saved. Call and thank our Senator Susan Collins for delivering this lifeline for Maine.
The Department of Justice and entertainment company Live Nation settled its antitrust lawsuit.
But how does it affect Bangor's amphitheater? Our Doug Banks explains.
The Department of Justice on Monday reached a tentative settlement in its antitrust lawsuit against Live Nation, an entertainment giant that includes Ticketmaster. The lawsuit accused Live Nation of operating an illegal monopoly within the concert business, including pressuring artists and venues into using its services while driving up ticket prices. In a 7-page term sheet obtained by ABC7 and Fox 22, it outlines how Live Nation must now pay up to $280 million in damages to the states in the lawsuit. Maine is not included. Now, where Maine Savings Amphitheater comes into play in this settlement is in the section titled Divestiture of Venues, where it states Live Nation will divest ownership and or control of the concert venues identified in Appendix A. Upon divestiture, these concert venues will conduct a new ticketing request for proposal.
Live Nation doesn't own the venue, doesn't operate the venue, but we do have a ticketing agreement with Ticketmaster, and I would assume at this point, based on that agreement, we are not bound by the terms of that agreement, provided that this sticks.
A City of Bangor spokesperson clarified it isn't an exclusive agreement. They also said that the City of Bangor owns the land beneath the venue and is in a long-term lease agreement with Waterfront Concerts, who owns and operates the amphitheater. Waterfront Concerts' Alex Gray told us on Wednesday that the settlement puts the venue's operations in zero jeopardy.
If you're talking merely about this facility, nothing changes.
The only changes that could occur would be from the ticketing standpoint. Gray says they're in the last year of its agreement with Ticketmaster, and a bulk of their shows for this year are already on sale. That agreement went out for bid in January, and currently 3 companies are in competition for that contract.
When I bid this contract last, there was probably 1 company that could do it, Ticketmaster. Now there's probably 3 companies that can do it.
Live Nation and Ticketmaster did not respond to our request for comment. In Bangor, Doug Banks, ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
We'd have to wait and see how it all finally shakes out.
Absolutely. We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Already areas of dense fog out there this morning, which is going to be messing with visibility, so be careful as you do travel out there. It will be tough to see for a while until the fog goes away. The last of the winter storm warning in the northern parts of the state will be dropping later on. Small craft advisory up along the coast. That will last until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Friday. Wave heights are active out there at around 5 to 6 feet, and that is continuing further off towards the north and east. That's why the advisory is posted at this moment in time. Meanwhile, mainly rain near the Bangor area and farther down toward the south. Farther off towards the north, a little bit of wintry mix and a little bit of ice mixing in. To this point, the maximum report that we've seen is 0.2 of an inch of ice. I'm sure more reports will be coming in later on this morning as we watch this system, which is a rather large one, is tracking off towards the east at this moment in time. Now, as we check things out, we are seeing the last of this that will be clearing out of here throughout the day, and even the clouds breaking up later on tonight. So here we go. Improvement will be on the way. We'll have sunshine for your Friday. Another system on the way through Friday with more clouds on the way. By Friday night, we'll have more snow, measurable snow that we'll get to see as we head towards your Saturday. We're done with the ice. No more measurable ice on the way, so that is some good news there. So no more trouble to worry about. But of course, the next system on the way will bring with it more snow, 1 to 3 inches overall, some localized areas of up to 4 inches that we'll get to look forward to as well. So for today, lower 50s, rain and snow, because that lower 50s will be hit early. We'll be cooling off pretty quickly. Breezy out there too, south wind up to 25 miles per hour. Later on tonight, lower 20s, partly cloudy and breezy, and that northwest wind at around 20 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, lower 40s, partly cloudy, and that west wind at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Rain and snow chances again for your Saturday with highs in the low 40s, lower 40s again for your Sunday under a partly cloudy sky, and rain chances Monday, highs back in the low 50s.
Nobody does the Oscars like...
Good morning, America.
And this morning, just days before he hosts the Oscars for a second time, Conan in an all-new interview. Then tomorrow, it's GMA's Oscars pre-party in Hollywood. The style, the stars, and Wolfgang Puck's cooking things up.
Carpets looking tired, stained, or just plain dirty? It's time to call the pros. At C&R Carpet Cleaning, we use deep steam technology to remove dirt, odors, pet hair, and allergens fast. Fresh, clean carpets, healthier home. That's the C&R promise. Visit our Facebook page for a free estimate or call us today, 631-7380. Step into clean with C&R Carpet Cleaning.
When Maine winter bites, nothing matters more than keeping your family warm. The solution is simple, a high-efficiency heat pump installed by Valley Home Services. It's the quiet, reliable warmth you need all season long. At Valley Home, we're your elite Fujitsu air stage dealer, ensuring expert installation that delivers consistent comfort and maximizes your energy savings. And we make it easy to switch to efficiency heating and qualify for those valuable Efficiency Maine rebates. Stay perfectly warm without the high cost. For a warm, worry-free winter, trust the local experts. Valley Home Services. Winter warmth is waiting. Call us today.
At ABC 7 and Fox 22 News, it's our job to share breaking news and politics, as well as stories from around Maine that will restore your hope in humanity. These feel-good features highlight what nonprofits, small businesses, and people just like you and I are doing to make a difference in the community. So join us weekdays for all the latest news and feel-good features that will make you smile. Right here on ABC 7 and Fox 22.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
New images this morning of oil tankers on fire in the Persian Gulf and oil prices jumping overnight. President Trump and global leaders now announcing they will tap into emergency oil reserves in hopes of calming the markets. We're also getting reports of Iran escalating attacks by firing cluster munition warheads at Israel. President Trump yesterday said the war is won, but he then acknowledged, quote, "We don't want to leave early." ABC's Marcus Moore has the latest.
Dramatic video overnight shows 2 oil tankers on fire in the Persian Gulf, forcing Iraq to suspend oil operations. Local officials blaming Iran. Flames engulfing one of the tankers. At least 1 person was reportedly killed and dozens more rescued. Iran now escalating attacks on oil infrastructure across the Gulf. Video shows multiple oil silos on fire. And in Bahrain, officials blame Iran for attacking this oil facility. Prices rising overnight, oil now topping $100 per barrel. President Trump says the U.S. will now release 172 million barrels of oil from the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve. And an international coalition plans to release another 400 million barrels from emergency supplies. Experts say that could help alleviate short-term concerns about prices.
This is the largest ever release of strategic stocks. So I think today's release with international energy allies was very helpful. and signaling to the world that there is a united response.
Reuters reports Iran has deployed roughly a dozen mines in the Strait of Hormuz. An Iranian official is also now threatening to fire underwater missiles.
We've knocked out all of their boats. They have some missiles, but not very many. I think we're in very good shape. The main thing is we have to win this.
Earlier in the day, President Trump saying there's, quote, practically nothing left for the U.S. to target in Iran, adding, quote, anytime I want it to end, it will end. Trump referring to the conflict as both a war and, quote, a little excursion. Meanwhile, a significant escalation in Lebanon, where Israel is targeting Hezbollah fighters backed by Iran. More than 600 people have reportedly been killed in the latest offensive.
As for Iran, they are continuing to strike oil facilities, but not only oil facilities, but also financial institutions across the region. And this morning, there is smoke rising from another apparent strike on an oil facility in Bahrain. This despite calls for calm. The attacks keep coming from all sides. Marcus Moore, ABC News, Doha.
Domestic security concerns continue as new documents show Iran allegedly planned to retaliate on American soil. The Federal Bureau of Investigation issued an alert last month warning local law enforcement of potential Iranian drone strikes in California. That's according to reports. The confidential alert said Iran allegedly planned to conduct a surprise attack on the West Coast in the event of a U.S. military action in Iran. The FBI said in the report they received information of the potential attack in early February. California Governor Gavin Newsom says his Office of Emergency Services is working with authorities to protect the state, but he is not aware of any imminent threats. A threat assessment by the Department of Homeland Security said that while Iran, quote, probably poses a threat of targeting attacks on the U.S., a large-scale physical strike was unlikely. President Trump said on Wednesday that he was aware of that potential threat.
Being investigated, but you have a lot of things happening, and all we can do is take them as they come. And the war itself is being prosecuted as well as anybody has ever seen, and this is other countries telling me too. Big countries, powerful countries, they said they've never seen anything like it. And they also agree with what I'm doing. They say it's an evil country, and it's been for 47 years that way.
The president says he's not worried about a possible Iranian attack on U.S. soil. The FBI alert surfaced on Wednesday as the U.S. and Israel's war with Iran reached its 12th day.
New details about two men accused of plotting a terrorist attack in New York. Turns out they may have considered other targets. Here's ABC's Sophie Flay.
This morning, sources say the two Pennsylvania teens charged with trying to carry out an ISIS-inspired attack in New York last weekend had considered other targets.
Balat and Qayoumi sought to incite fear and mass suffering through this alleged attempted terror attack in the backyard of an elected city official.
The teens are accused of bringing a homemade bomb to an anti-Muslim protest outside the New York mayor's residence.
These were improvised explosive devices made to injure, maim, or worse.
One teen throwing a device at protesters, but it fizzled out. Authorities believe the 18 and 19-year-olds had watched ISIS videos at home. Sources say investigators who searched this storage unit in the teen's hometown found a notebook describing soft targets, like shopping centers. They say the teens were planning an attack for at least a week. Video shows one suspect at this fireworks store in Pennsylvania. The owner saying the teen bought a fuse.
There was a real threat. There was a real danger there.
Two members of the NYPD who chased down the suspects during the attack Saturday spoke to our New York station.
I saw the device hit the floor and I just ran. I knew that I needed to save lives, so I ran towards the people to make sure that nobody got hurt.
This image of Assistant Chief Aaron Edwards going viral after he jumped a fence to help capture the suspects. The NYPD posting, "Some heroes wear capes. Chief Aaron Edwards wears blue."
Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Coming up on the second half of the newscast, there's a push in New York City for a major increase in minimum wage.
We'll hear about it as Good Morning Maine continues.
If you're a licensed technician and ready to get back to work or make the switch to a rewarding career, then look no further, because Ray Plumbing and Heating is hiring and ready to add you to their family today. For more information, visit rayplumbing.com.
Car accidents can be scary. It can feel like the whole world is crashing down around you. You can't work, you've got expensive medical bills, pain and suffering. Absolute chaos. We'll take the stress and frustrations off your shoulders. We've done that for thousands of people, and we're ready to help you too. Hurt in a car accident? I'm on top of it. I'm your go-to guy.
Call 222-2222.
It's Truck Month with the Ford Crew.
Truck Month only happens once a year.
So it's gotta be big.
Like available Pro Power on board big.
Protect it with the Ford Security Package big. Biggest deals of the year big.
There's only one Ford Truck Month.
Deal's so good, we need a bigger door big.
Oh, yeah.
Now get 0% APR plus $1,000 on Ford F-Series, including a 1-year maintenance plan. Only at your New England Ford dealers.
Are you in need of remodeling your bathroom? Want to convert your tub into a safe walk-in shower? Call the experts at Bangor Bathrooms by Design now. They offer complete bathroom remodels, and from start to finish, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call them now and save thousands. 659-6457. Enjoy that brand new bathroom you've always wanted from Bangor Bathrooms by Design. Transforming bathrooms, elevating lives.
If you're a licensed technician and ready to get back to work or make the switch to a rewarding career, then look no further, because Ray Plumbing and Heating is hiring and ready to add you to their family today. For more information, visit rayplumbing.com.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine, everyone. Today is Thursday, March 12th, 2026, and it is also National Working Moms Day.
This day is dedicated to all the mothers who work hard to make life better for their children. That includes housewives and homemakers who serve as a role model for their kids. This holiday was created in Milwaukee to help local moms connect with each other and to address the needs of working moms in their community.
I like the idea that
do too.
moms do everything. They serve as substitute teachers, sometimes sometimes the doctor,
Right.
whatever. They do so much.
Many
so.
hats, many roles.
Yeah,
So
good they have a little recognition.
definitely.
All right, time for some history. It was on this day back in 1894, Coca-Cola was sold in bottles for the very first time. A local candy store decided to bottle it up and start selling it to people. In 1912, the Girl Scouts of America got its start when Juliet Gordon Lowe of Savannah, Georgia, started the first American troop of the Girl Guides. That's what they were called at the time. They were the Girl Guides. In 1928, more than 400 people were killed when the St. Francis Dam failed north of Los Angeles, sending billions of gallons of water to the canyon below. And in 1933 on this date, President Franklin Roosevelt delivered his first fireside chat, a series of evening radio broadcasts to the American public. It came during the Great Depression and was a way for him to talk about the difficulties the country was facing and what he hoped for the future.
And in 1947, President Harry S. Truman announced what became known as the Truman Doctrine. He was asking Congress to provide assistance to Greece and Turkey to help stop the spread of communism. It's also considered the official declaration of the Cold War. And in 1970, the legal age for voting in the U.S. was lowered from 21 to 18 years old. And in 1980, John Wayne Gacy was found guilty of murdering 33 men and boys and burying them beneath his Chicago home. And lastly, in 2012, the dystopian science fiction movie The Hunger Games premiered in Los Angeles.
That one was for you.
Yes,
You're a big Hunger
I
Games
appreciate
fan.
that. I love The Hunger Games.
Don't they have like another version coming out pretty soon?
Yeah, it's Sunrise on the Reaping, so
right,
I'm excited to read it.
I watched the first couple of them too.
They're good.
Good movies.
Yeah.
All right, birthdays today. They include actress Liza Minnelli, who is 80 years old today. Actor Aaron Eckhart turns 58. And the musician James Taylor, the great musician, 78 years old today. Happy birthday to you also if your birthday's today. James Taylor was in Bangor, what was it, last summer or the summer before?
Was he?
Something like that.
Very cool.
Yeah, I missed it. But
Yeah, well, we'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Thursday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. All righty, here we go. The last of the winter storm warning in the northern parts of the state will drop later on this morning. We also have a small craft advisory lasting until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Friday along the coast. Meanwhile, areas of dense fog developing this morning, and we'll need to watch that. That will make travel a little bit difficult as you do make that morning commute, so make sure to keep that in mind as you do venture out, as we do have precipitation tracking from the southwest and going toward the north and east. Any ice reports farther off towards the north, and so far haven't noticed anything too ridiculous. The maximum report, at least up to this point, has been 0.2 of an inch. We'll see if any more reports come in later on this morning. I'd imagine so later on. As we zoom things out, we can see more precipitation tracking from the west to the east. The precipitation will back off later on. The hourly forecast moving forward, we'll see the precipitation backing off, especially this afternoon. Temperatures in the 50s and then cooling off. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. Still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports.
Don't go away.
See that brand new Hyundai Tucson out there?
Yeah.
I only paid...
Enjoy your new car. Yeah, you too.
The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
Lease an all-wheel drive Hyundai Tucson SE for $209 a month or get 0% APR plus 0 payments for 90 days. Hurry in.
Brandywine Graphics makes it easy. We are the top source for screen printing, embroidery, branded merchandise, and direct-to-garment printing. With decades of experience, state-of-the-art equipment, and a commitment to excellence, why trust your apparel products with anyone else? And now, Brandywine Graphics can easily launch online stores for your school or organization. Simply design your products from brands like Eddie Bauer, Carhartt, and more. Share the link and we'll do the rest. Like we said, Brandywine Graphics makes it easy. Find out more at brandywinegraphics.com or at our Hamden location.
Come in and visit AMHG Works, Bangor's #1 gift shop, located at 36 Springer Drive and the Rennie's Plaza. We have special gifts for you, your furry companion, and that special someone you are in need of a gift for. It's worth a trip in for unique American-made gifts. Here at AMHG Works, everything is American-made, and we are open 7 days a week for your convenience. American-made home goods. We look forward to seeing you.
See that brand new Hyundai Santa Fe?
Yeah.
I only paid.
Finish this bucket on your own.
Enjoy your new car.
The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
Right now, lease a Hyundai Elantra SE for $89 a month or get 0.99% APR for 60 months. Hurry in.
ABC 7 and Fox 22's Jack Webb named Maine's Sportscaster of the Year by the National Sports Media Association.
Welcome back in, folks. We'll start with big news out of Skowhegan as legendary Riverhawks field hockey coach Paula Dowdy has been let go by the school. Over her 44-year career, Dowdy helped lead the Riverhawks to 20 state titles, by far the most of any Maine head coach. There's no official reason given as to why she was let go, and the school declined to comment on the matter. Staying local now, it's a big weekend coming up for the Maine hockey team as they prepare to take on Boston College in the opening round of the Hockey East tournament. Our Max Sturm caught up with the Black Bears ahead of their win-or-go-home game on Friday.
So that's really what it is. It's all about us coming together, and like this week is just taking it one day at a time.
Playoff hockey is nothing new to the Maine Black Bears, who won the Hockey East and made a Frozen Four run last season. But after experiencing an up-and-down year in 2025 and 26, they are ready to reset and focus on one game at a time.
Even though we've been trying to focus on our own game as much as we can, there has been other results elsewhere that can affect us. But now it really comes down to one team versus the next, and one game elimination.
You know, we're just gonna have to come with our best effort of the season. You know, you don't get any redos, you don't get a bad 5 minutes in the playoffs, because that's it.
Maine's first tournament matchup comes against Boston College on Friday. The Black Bears split the weekend series with the Eagles earlier this season, And head coach Ben Barr says the weekend's focus will be about cleaning up those mistakes.
And we made some really, really bad decisions when we didn't have the puck and just gave them full ice 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s, that kind of stuff. And they really feed off that because they're so dangerous in transition.
For us, it's going to be about being disciplined. There's going to be plays to be made out there, but sometimes it's going to be live to fight another day and get the puck in deep and don't give them easy offense.
One of the thrills of the Hockey East playoffs is the chance to play on the ice at TD Garden with a win in the opening round. And that possibility has been a huge motivator for the Black Bears.
Yeah, well, we were going down memory lane there with a few of us last week, talking about like just the Garden and what it means, and talking to the young guys and how insane it is when Maine plays there and we have 15,000+ Mainers down there. It's something like you can't even really put into words.
If we can find a way to play our best hockey for 60 minutes, I have no idea no doubt that we'll be back there.
Puck drop is at 7 p.m. on Friday night. In Orono, Max Sturm, ABC 7 in Fox 22 Sports.
To the NFL now, the new league year has officially opened at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. Boy, has it been crazy last couple days, and the biggest stories between Las Vegas and Baltimore. Tuesday night, the Baltimore Ravens have backed out of a trade agreement with Las Vegas for superstar edge rusher Max Crosby. The Raiders and Ravens had initially agreed to send Crosby in exchange for a 2026 and 2027 first-round pick. Reports have come out that Crosby failed his physical, which was the cause of calling the trade off. It was well known by all teams involved in trade talks that Crosby had just undergone a meniscus repair surgery at the beginning of the year. Meanwhile, the Ravens have pivoted very fast and have signed former Bengals four-time Pro Bowl defensive end Trey Hendrickson to a 4-year deal worth $112 million. Multiple sources are saying that league execs are now weary of what Baltimore did and may now hesitate to trade with that team in the future. We head down to Boston now, where the Celtics are coming off a tough loss on Tuesday night. The C's fell at the hands of the San Antonio Spurs by a score of 125-116. Victor Wembanyama put up 39 points in the Spurs win and recorded 11 rebounds and 3 assists for the Celtics. Jason Tatum has shown he's coming back just as strong as last year, dropping 24 in his third game back. But the real story of Tuesday night's loss was the ejection of Jaylen Brown after receiving back-to-back technical fouls in the second quarter. Brown felt as though he was pushed out of bounds, and when it was not called, he became irate, which resulted in the chief official calling the technical and another official calling the second. When asked about it after the game, head coach Joe Mazzulla had a humorous response.
Just give a ton of credit to my high school principal. He had the balls to throw a student out. He didn't leave it to the hall monitor.
Joe, staying in the NBA, but heading down to South Beach, where NBA history was made in the Miami Heat's game against Washington on a Tuesday night. In one of the most unexpected performances you'll ever see, Heat center Bam Adebayo put up 83 points in the team's game against the Wizards, surpassing Kobe Bryant's 81-point game to make him the second highest single-game scoring performance of all time, trailing only Wilt Chamberlain, who famously scored 100. Adebayo shot 46% from the field and knocked down 36 of 43 free throws to accomplish the feat, cementing himself in basketball history forever. After the game, Bam had a hard time trying to process the magnitude of the historic game.
Emotional moment. Like I said, I wish I could relive it twice. So this is a special moment. It's Wilt, me, then Kobe, which sounds crazy.
Whole lot of free throws there. That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Hi, this is Jim with Lowry Law.
Some guy slid across the center line and hit my daughter. The cops said the guy was driving way too fast for the snowy conditions.
I'm so sorry you guys are going through this. Is your daughter okay?
She just had surgery yesterday. Is there any way you could come meet us at the hospital?
Absolutely. I can meet you at the hospital right now.
Lowry Law came to the hospital and settled my daughter's case for $250,000.
Call me. I'm your go-to guy.
Maine traditions you gotta do. Catch a sunrise from atop Cadillac Mountain, dig into baked beans at a community supper, and visit the Eastern Maine Sportsman Show. Make plans now for the 86th Eastern Maine Sportsman Show at the University of Maine in Orono, March 20th to 22nd. Come see all kinds of exhibitors and programs, from archery to fly tying to hunting to fishing. Everything you need to enjoy Maine and the outdoors is at the Eastern Maine Sportsman Show, March 20th to 22nd at the University of Maine in Orono. Make it your.
Dorsey Furniture has just purchased the entire Bedding Industries of America 2025 showroom. That's one of America's oldest and largest premium mattress manufacturers. They manufacture famous Eastman House and Eclipse mattresses, as well as over 20 other trusted brands. From that buyout, we've received 40 mattresses, mostly queen size, and right now everyone is 50% off. Limited quantity, no reorders. When they're gone, they're gone. Dorsey Furniture, family owned, Maine trusted.
Sleep well, my friends.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, there's a push in New York City for a major increase in minimum wage. On Tuesday, a coalition of community activists, labor leaders, and progressive members of the city council rallied outside the city hall in New York City, demanding a $30 minimum wage, double what it is now. 30 for Our City is the name of the bill introduced by City Council member Sandy Nurse from Brooklyn. It would raise the minimum wage to $30 an hour by the year 2030. Supporters say the increase is needed to help families deal with inflation and the rising cost of living in the city, but opponents say such an increase would be unsustainable, and while it would help some workers, it could lead to major financial burdens for others, including small businesses, that could be forced to close. Right now, there is no city in the U.S. that has a minimum wage of $30 an hour. However, Los Angeles will be raising minimum wage to $30 an hour in 2 years, but only workers and the hospitality industry.
How about that? I remember my first job in the TV business. I earned $3.50 an hour back in 1985.
I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah, I couldn't do it today.
Well, now here's meteorologist Devin Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience the Quality Automotive difference. Reliable service and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment, 922-2043. Already areas of dense fog out there this morning, which is going to be messing with visibility, so be careful as you do travel out there. It will be tough to see for a while until the fog goes away. The last of the winter storm warning in the northern parts of the state will be dropping later on. Small craft advisory up along the coast. That will last until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Friday. Wave heights are active out there at around 5 to 6 feet, and that is continuing further off towards the north and east. That's why the advisory is posted at this moment in time. Meanwhile, mainly rain near the Bangor area and farther down toward the south. Farther off towards the north, a little bit of wintry mix and a little bit of ice mixing in. To this point, the maximum report that we've seen is 0.2 of an inch of ice. I'm sure more reports will be coming in later on this morning as we watch this system, which is a rather large one, is tracking off towards the east at this moment in time. Now, as we check things out, we are seeing the last of this that will be clearing out of here throughout the day, and even the clouds breaking up later on tonight. So here we go. Improvement will be on the way. We'll have sunshine for your Friday. Another system on the way through Friday with more clouds on the way. By Friday night, we'll have more snow, measurable snow that we'll get to see as we head towards your Saturday. We're done with the ice. No more measurable ice on the way, so that is some good news there. So no more trouble to worry about. But of course, the next system on the way will bring with it more snow. 1 to 3 inches overall, some localized areas of up to 4 inches that we'll get to look forward to as well. So for today, lower 50s, rain and snow, because that lower 50s will be hit early. We'll be cooling off pretty quickly. Breezy out there too. South wind up to 25 miles per hour. hour. Later on tonight, lower 20s, partly cloudy and breezy, and that northwest wind at around 20 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, lower 40s, partly cloudy, and that west wind at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast, brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Rain and snow chances again for your Saturday, with highs in the low 40s, lower 40s again for your Sunday under a partly cloudy sky, and rain chances Monday, highs back in the low 50s.
Hello, this is George Whelan with Down East Direct Cremation. Now, anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, from the comfort of your desktop or the convenience of your mobile device, you can summon transport and arrange a simple, affordable, respectful Down East Direct Cremation for your deceased loved one. Just by using the button exclusively at downeastdirectcremation.com. All you need is the location address of the person who has died, their vital statistics information, a valid credit card for payment, and that's it. No need to pick up the telephone, no need to answer a bunch of questions, no need to come into the store, and it's still just $9.75 complete. It's so easy, even I can do it. For more information, visit us at downeastdirectcremation.com or call us at 207-225-5332. Simple, affordable, respectful. The button, only at downeastdirectcremation.com.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
Let's do this thing.
It's Hollywood's biggest night, the Oscars.
Oh boy, this is just incredible.
With can't-miss performances from Sinners and K-pop Demon Hunters.
This is a dream come true.
The Oscars, live Sunday on ABC and Hulu.
Judge Judy never misses a beat.
This is my playpen.
Let me stop you.
Don't stop me ever. Is not an answer. I love this job.
Judge Judy.
Weekdays at 5 on ABC 7.
Nissan Motor Uber Technologies and a British startup called WVII said they will collaborate on developing robo-taxis. This pilot project would most likely be implemented later this year in Tokyo. Uber's first vehicle partnership in Japan. The plan provides Nissan Leaf electric vehicles with WVI's self-driving technology to be made available to customers via Uber, the company's announced in a statement. The vehicles will operate on Uber's platform in the initial phase with a trained safety driver in the cars. Uber plans to launch the service through a licensed taxi partner in Japan. The CEO of Nissan told reporters that in the future they may be able to offer this service in more countries and in areas. I think it's just a matter of time.
I was just about to say, I think we probably will.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time that we have left for this hour, but you can join us for the second hour of Good Morning Maine. That's next on Fox 22.
Thanks for being there, everyone. We hope you have a great day.
Farmer's Table.
Yeah, I only paid. Finish this bucket on your own.
Enjoy your new car.
The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
Lease an all-wheel drive Hyundai Palisade SE for $319 a month, or get 3.99% APR for 60 months. Hurry in.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
What matters more? A bank with innovative products or one that cares for the community? At Bangor Savings Bank, we think it's both because our innovation helps customers build stronger credit, earn rewards when shopping local, give teens independence and financial experience, and simplify business with local solutions. So what matters more? You.
Our names were whispered through time, from generation to generation.
Don't you feel that there are things that cannot be explained?
God has a destiny for us.
Surely nothing is impossible for God.
See the brand new Hyundai Tucson out there?
Yeah?
I only paid...
Enjoying your car?
Yeah, you too.
The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event.
Lease an all-wheel drive Hyundai Tucson SE for $209 a month or get 0% APR plus 0 payments for 90 days. Hurry in.
Good Morning Maine on WFVX, Fox 22. From the Grapefruit Woods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, Down East OBGYN announced last week that they will be closing. We'll learn about the impact on their patients and what other options are available.
Plus, the Public Defense Services Commission officially has no more funding to pay their attorneys. We'll have more on that coming up as well.
And Freshies on Hammond Street is now back open after months of reconstruction and improvements there. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday morning. We'll have those stories and more coming up. Got to stop by that new Freshies to try out their new salad bar, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it looks really nice in there.
Yeah, exciting news there. First, to check the forecast, though, looks like we're going to start off on the wet side today. And then things will be warming up as the day goes along. Pretty much just a cloudy day ahead, though.